May these words that I speak be grounded in my soul, encouraged by the God presence in me. And may these words that you hear be captured by your soul, enlivened by the God presence in you. Amen. I have to admit that as I sit here before you, one of my fears is that you will think, here he goes again on this compassion thing. And then allow the next 10 minutes or so to just go on by. And yet, with that fear in mind, I feel compelled to speak once again about compassion. Hopefully with a somewhat different slant, so that it may be good, if not challenging, news to you. You see, compassion for me is the deepest experience of love. An unconditional kind of love that comes from our soul. Jesus challenged his followers and challenges us to live with compassion, knowing how difficult it would be, and yet knowing from his own experience how life-giving and how fulfilling it could be. My message today suggests that compassion needs to grow beyond our own lives, beyond our family and friends, beyond our community, beyond our country, and in fact beyond our world. And so you may be asking, what and where is there compassion to reach beyond that? For me, it is a compassion within us and among us that must reach into the future, to all of those souls that are yet to be born. I used a week of my study leave to attend Epiphany explorations in Victoria. This conference, now in its 12th year, brings together progressive theologians with professionals in fields of philosophy, sociology, ethics, and science to share their knowledge, their wisdom, and most importantly, to share their dreams. I heard a number of prophetic voices during the 4 days of the conference, and I look forward to sharing some of my experience with you over the coming months. But today, I want to share my experience of Andrew Weaver, who was the final speaker at the conference on Sunday evening. Andrew Weaver is Professor of Earth and Oceans Science at the University of Victoria. You may also know that name because he was the first Green Party member elected to the legislature in May 2013. He began his talk by giving solid and prolific scientific evidence about the reality of global warming. Evidence through chart by chart and statistic by statistic, dating back into the 19th century, where they were already predicting what could happen. There is no doubt in the scientific world that global warming is real, and that carbon dioxide is the primary culprit, and the developed world is the primary perpetrator. The reality is that our obsession with fossil fuels is destroying the planet. We are currently in a time of mass extinction of species, an extinction that eclipses by far the extinction of the dinosaurs. We are currently experiencing severe weather fluctuations and storms breaking high and low temperature marks around the globe. Weaver is clear that if we continue to burn fossil fuels at our present rate, and the reality is that fossil fuel rates are increasing, not decreasing, the Earth and its creatures, including us, will reach catastrophic conditions by the year 2075. Predictions tell us we will experience worldwide crop failure, worldwide water shortage, rising sea levels that will submerge nearly every coastal city, including Vancouver, and horrific and deadly storm systems. Now, most of us know all this, but like so many challenges in our lives, and I'm guilty of the same thing, we don't really want to know. Andrew Weaver believes, and I agree, that this is no longer a political issue. The unfortunate reality is that most politicians are only interested in policies and initiatives that will get them re-elected, and not necessarily what is good for the present, let alone the future. Weaver also says this is no longer, and that's a politician saying that. He also doesn't expect to get re-elected. Weaver also says this is no longer an economic issue, because the multinational corporations that control and direct our economies are only interested in profit right now. Instead, Weaver believes, and this is where I was so compelled, he believes that this is now a matter of ethics and faith, and why he believes the church must become a prophetic voice in a barren land. His plea to the nearly 500 of us, mostly church folk, gathered at that conference was to raise our voices, voices rooted in love and compassion, not for ourselves alone, but for our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. He was calling us to live with authentic family values. Ironically, politically conservative parties like our current federal and provincial governments stand firmly on upholding family values. We hear it all the time, and yet show no concern whatsoever about future generations. And I say, what could be more family value than changing our ways now to ensure life for our grandchildren? This, I believe, is what it is to be the light of compassion in our time. Once again this week, I found the Spirit moving in mysterious and wondrous ways, because as I wrestled with Andrew Weaver's message, I also received this image on my phone. This is my granddaughter, who will make her way into the world sometime in June. She is already beautiful, already the one that I love. But it is this second image that really touched my heart. Her hand outstretched, reaching towards life, reaching towards love. How can I not call for change? She will be my current age in 2073. How can I not do my part to work towards a world that will be habitable for her and her children? Unfortunately, the argument we always hear is that we can't afford to change, that it will destroy our economy and put thousands of people out of work. But Andrew Weaver was clear, and there's evidence to back him up, that this kind of attitude is fossil fuel supporter propaganda. The reality is that moving to green technologies will create more jobs and grow our economy faster than the present course will ever do. We need not be afraid to change. We need to be deathly afraid of staying the course. The story, Love You Forever, for me has a very deep, profound wisdom beneath its sentimental exterior. And it is explicit in the title, Love You Forever. Love and compassion is forever. It is the central quality of what it is to be human, to experience love, to express love, and to pass that love and compassion generation to generation. It has always been that way. Communion began many, many, many generations ago. We gather as members of one metaphorical body, a body of generations past, present, and future. As we come to this table once again, gathered in love, gathered with compassion, may we realize that this is not only a remembering of the past, but a faithful commitment to the present and a willingness to live with hope for the future to come. To my yet-to-be-born granddaughter, and to all the grandchildren and great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren and great-great-great-grandchildren of this world, I say, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby will be. This is the way that we become light in the darkness, the light of compassion. May we be willing to raise our voices in love. Amen.